What's up? What's up? Welcome into another video with the Sports Judge. I appreciate you all for finding me here at this channel. Please leave me feedback and be sure to hit the subscribe button. We had NFL games all day today. We had a great slate of games. I've been watching NFL action for much of the day. That's all I've been doing. I just been hanging out, enjoying a day of football. Now I'm here to finally break down some of these games, if not all of them. I mean, this is a lot of games to kind of get through, but we're going to try our best here. There seemed to be a little doubt that the Chiefs would lose two in a row to start the 2023 season. They avoided starting their season 0-2 by defeating the Jacksonville Jaguars. I kind of knew that they weren't going to go down 0-2 to start the season. They're the freaking Kansas City Chiefs, for crying out loud. Let's be real. The KC defense is starting to come around finally. Chris Jones is back after finally coming to an agreement on a new deal. It's nice to have him back. He's a big part of that defense. He's the anchor of that defense. You need him out there if your defense is going to be legitimate, and we saw that today. He's working his way back into football shape. I thought he looked really, really good. I thought he looked really, really impressive. He had 5 pressures, 1.5 sacks, and knocked down a pass as well. Just a solid effort from a guy who, could have came in looking a bit rusty, not, ready for football, not game ready, but he was game ready. He played his game. He played his heart out. The final score was 17-9. 2 games into this season, the offense needs work. That's an area of concern. They're committing self-inflicted mistakes. Mahomes' throws have not been on the money at times, and I know he will get his act together. He's Patrick Mahomes. Hello. On Sunday, though, he threw an ill-advised deep pass into double coverage for an interception. Receivers continue to let down Patrick Mahomes in this offense. Kadarius Toney, Justin Watson, Richie James all fumbled the ball. They all coughed it up. You can't cough up the ball. You got to make plays, man. It's as simple as that. Kelsey dropped a touchdown reception. How often do we see that from him? We don't see that very often. And he dropped a reception in the fourth quarter, in the most critical time of the game. So, I mean, it hasn't been sharp for the offense, but I'm pretty sure they will turn it around. The defense, though, was all over the Jacksonville offense, suffocated the Jaguars and held Trevor Lawrence and the Jags offense out of the end zone. KC's defense looks much improved. I think that's where they gotten better defensively. I think the offense will eventually take shape, and I think things will come together for that offense. They got Andy Reid, one of the best creative minds in the game. They got Patrick Mahomes, arguably the greatest quarterback of all time. 49ers took care of business against the Rams, 30-23. No team has a better running game than the 49ers. The 49ers, they'll run all over you, man. Deebo Samuel's running like someone stole his bike. I mean, look, who can beat you in a multitude of ways? No other team in the NFL can, like the 49ers. The 49ers ran for 159 yards on 5.7 yards per carry after totaling 180 yards on 5.5 YPC. That's incredible. Brock Purdy can simply make the easy plays for the Niners. He doesn't always have to have his best performance, but they have the best offensive weapons in the league. They're deep. They're loaded. They're stacked. They're my favorite team to win the Super Bowl. You can't take away what the Rams is getting out of their 5th-round receiver, Puka Nacua. He had a great day. He caught 10 balls for 119 yards in his NFL debut. Nacua torched the 49ers for another 15 catches and 147 yards. And everyone was talking about what would the Rams do without Cooper Kupp? Can he get healthy next month and help this offense? Nakua has filled in nicely. Stafford has a nice group of weapons, but again, they fell short today. The 49ers are the more complete NFL team. I mean, what more can I really say? The 49ers have a team that can get to the Super Bowl. On paper, they have a team that should go to the Super Bowl. Now, the Cowboys and the Jets. The Cowboys took care of business 30-10. Zach Wilson isn't getting it done. Don't expect him to. This is why the Jets traded for Aaron Rodgers. Unfortunately, Aaron Rodgers goes down with an injury. Wilson had a 68-yard touchdown pass to Garrett Wilson. Okay, that's nice and everything, but can you do it on a consistent basis? I'm not sure he can. The Cowboys defense, we know how elite the Cowboys are on that side of the ball. The Jets couldn't threaten all day. The Cowboys put a lot of fear in that offense. The Cowboys are scary good. We know this. Even though the Jets beat Buffalo in week 1, it was much of the same last Monday night as well. Dallas Cowboys continue to show why they are a Super Bowl contender. On paper, they have showed it. The offense has room to improve. The offense will hopefully get better. Dak Prescott's going to have to take care of the football. He can't be a turnover machine, but the defense is a dominant unit with Micah Parsons leading the way. Parsons was all over the field. I mean, this dude resembles the style of Lawrence Taylor. He is the most disruptive player in the NFL. He had 3 sacks in this game, I believe, if I'm correct. And against the New York Jets, yes, he had 3 sacks for loss. 4 quarterback hits, 2 sacks, a forced fumble, and a recovered fumble. I mean, he was just all over the ball. And that's what he does so well. He puts a lot of pressure on you. I mean, just looking at him, it's terrifying. I mean, can you imagine that big body coming at you? And that's what he does. Commanders and the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos lost another one. Man, it's going to be a long year for the Denver Broncos. The Commanders, they look good. They're off to a 2-0 start. The defensive line can be the reason Washington has real playoff hopes. I mean, the defensive line looks nice. They look really good. The Commanders, over the first 2 games, they've notched 9 sacks, including 6 of Russell Wilson in Sunday's come from behind win, an impressive game. Nonetheless, from them, the combination of Darren Payne, Jonathan Allen, and Chase Young is among the league's scariest for opposing offenses. I would not want to face that team. I think I would go home, okay? Because those boys are coming to play. Sean Payton with the Denver Broncos, the era hasn't gotten off to a great start for him. Sean Payton is a Super Bowl winning coach. We liked this hire when we first heard about it. This might test everything inside of him because Denver continues to look like a hot mess. Denver had a 21-3 lead against a quarterback making his 3rd career start, and then was promptly outscored 32-6. They let this game slip away. They let this game clearly get out of their hands. It shouldn't have ended this way. Wilson is clearly an issue. I think we are seeing a guy who's in decline. The defense was also part of the problem. You don't have enough support around you from your teammates. It's all bad for the Denver Broncos right now. If I'm Russell Wilson, I'm thinking about retiring and leaving the game. The Ravens 27, the Bengals 24. The Bengals lost another tough one. Man, Lamar Jackson looks more and more comfortable. He's starting to settle in a little bit more. The Ravens were without star linemen Tyler Linderbaum and Ronnie Stanley. Uh, but Jackson still managed to throw for 237 yards and 2 touchdowns while rushing for another 57. Jackson 5, man. He was the star Baltimore needed to notch a key divisional win over the struggling Bengals. Yes, the Bengals are struggling. They still got time to turn it around. Hopefully, they do that very, very soon. Uh, the Russian defense seems to be a major issue for the Bengals. They can't seem to stop the run. Yes, the Ravens and Browns are maybe the two worst opponents to face in that regard, but Cincinnati has been torched. I mean, look, they look bad right now. They just look terrible. Joe Burrow has had a lackluster start. That's concerning after he got paid. Yes, this dude got paid like an elite quarterback. In fact, he's the highest paid quarterback in the NFL. And his play on the field is not matching the money in his bank account. It's just not. The defense right now is the bigger long-term problem as well. So Cincinnati, man, they gotta get into rhythm. They gotta hurry up and get better. You know, they gotta play complementary football. Things has to change in a hurry. The Titans 27, the Chargers 24. That's the next game. Now the Chargers, you guys all know how I feel about Brandon Staley. I think he is part of the problem. Okay, the Chargers allowed a week one high 466 passing yards against Tua Tagovailoa and the Dolphins. Then facing a pop gun offense in the Titans, a team that likes to run it a lot, with Ryan Tannehill and of course Henry. The Chargers watched as the veteran quarterback went 20 of 24. Yes, they made Tannehill look like an elite quarterback, like he's in the elite class. He went 20 of 24 for 246 yards and a touchdown. In the pass-heavy AFC, that's not good. That's not good at all. That's troubling. I think the Chargers don't get anywhere as long as Brandon Staley is their head coach. The Chargers are not going anywhere with Brandon Staley as their head coach. They're not. They should have fired him last year. His seat is getting hotter and hotter and hotter. His seat is getting hotter. You know, and what he's doing, he is setting up Justin Herbert for failure. Okay, it's not looking good at all. Tennessee was able to bring down Justin Herbert on 4 occasions. This pass rush, plus running the ball, was clearly a winning recipe for the Tennessee Titans. I mean, that pretty much sums up how the afternoon went for the Chargers. But the Chargers are now 0-2. It's a disastrous start to their season. I place a lot of the blame on Brandon Staley because I don't think he is fit to be a head coach in the National Football League. He's clearly not the guy for the job in LA. It's time to move on from him. And how about the Raiders losing? Was last week a fluke, beating the Denver Broncos? Yeah, you're not gonna go into Buffalo and beat Buffalo at home. And Buffalo also coming off of a terrible week one. You know Josh Allen was gonna respond in a big way. And he did just that. They clearly, destroyed the Raiders. If Las Vegas is going to be surprisingly competitive this season, it starts with Jimmy G not making huge mistakes. It also starts with their head coach, hello, Josh McDaniels, who another guy who I think is on the hot seat as well, you know, leading a game 7-0 with the ball early. Jimmy G threw an interception deep in his own territory, and Buffalo took off. I mean, that was the momentum killer. Um, you know, in that situation, you need to take the sack on that screen instead of throwing it into chaos. I mean, you gotta be smarter than that. Come on, dude. You gotta be smarter than that. Hopefully, he takes that lesson moving forward. Hopefully, he learned a valuable lesson. But the easy takeaway here for the Buffalo Bills is Josh Allen bouncing back. That's not surprising because he does that. That's who he is. What was surprising is Buffalo, which had the league's worst week 1 run defense, holding Josh Jacobs to -2 yards on 9 carries. That was impressive. They were able to neutralize him. They didn't let him really get going. He wasn't able to move the ball consistently. If the front 7 can play anything close to that most weeks, Buffalo will notch plenty of blowout wins. I mean, they should breeze through a number of these teams, of course, because of how well they played today. And if they can keep that up, hopefully consistently play that way all the time, we'll have to see. The next game, Seahawks 37, Lions 31. Great way to bounce back after losing in week 1 to the Rams. Geno Smith, he struggled mightily in week 1 with 112 passing yards. The big adjustment, getting Tyler Lockett more involved. I felt like he was more of a dynamic weapon for that offense today. He only caught 2 passes on 4 targets against the Rams, but Lockett had 8 receptions on 12 targets, including the game-winning touchdown. So it was a more productive day for him. Also, nice job by coordinator Shane Waldron, if I pronounced his name correctly. You know I butcher names, guys. Getting Lockett back in flow. He was able to get him back into the rhythm of everything. The Lions' pass rush remains an issue. On paper, this team is expected to do big things in the NFC North. They should dominate their division this year. Second-year stud Aiden Hutchinson is on the Detroit's defensive front. There isn't much else really on that defensive front to make really an impact. Detroit only hit Smith once on Sunday. They didn't really put pressure on him. And against the Chiefs in week 1, Mahomes was never sacked. I mean, Mahomes didn't even get his jersey dirty, really, you know. So, I mean, it's about putting pressure. And what this does, it puts a ton of pressure on the secondary. The secondary has to step up. The secondary has to be the X factor. The Giants. The Giants are laughable frauds. This Giants team is a complete joke. I'm just going to call it for what it is. Now, I will say that New York showed fight, led by their much maligned quarterback, Daniel Jones. We all know Daniel Jones signed a questionable 4-year, $160 million extension this offseason, but facing a 20-0 halftime deficit. This man only completed 17 of 21 for 259 yards in the second half of a comeback win. Not bad, but New York has plenty to clean up. That's the kind of performance from Jones which inspires confidence. Can he keep this up? You paid him like he's Joe Montana. This was against the Arizona Cardinals, so I'm not. I mean, this doesn't really. This is not a convincing win to me. It's against the Cardinals. Arizona has been competitive in both of its games, but it's a small sample size. It's a small sample size. Um, I mean, I don't know. I, I don't know. The Giants to me are gonna find a way to screw it all up. To me, they're gonna just find a way to blow it. I'm not a believer in Daniel Jones. I'm just not a firm believer in this guy. I'm not. And next week they get the 49ers, and I think Daniel Jones is going to get exposed by that 49ers defense. He's going to turn over the ball because this dude doesn't perform well when he's under duress. He's going to make a ton of mistakes against that 49ers defense. They're going to swallow him up. They're going to put a lot of pressure on him. They're going to force him into tough throws. They're going to harass him. It's going to be a tough week for him. He's not going to look like Joe Montana next week. Trust me. Next game, Falcons 25, Packers 24. That was a close game. Packers only lost by 1. Last week, the Packers, they shocked the world. The Bears were stifled by a swarming Green Bay defense. But that wasn't the case in Atlanta, as the unit allowed 446 total yards, including 4 consecutive scoring drives before the game came to an end. If the Packers are going to fight for the NFC North, the defense must be terrific while the offense finds its way, with Jordan Love leading the way. But Jordan Love, in week 1, he was very impressive. He was a big story in Green Bay. So we shall see. For the Falcons, the defense was doing its job. They held the Panthers to 10 points in week 1. The Packers only mustered 224 total yards. You have a second-year quarterback in Desmond Ritter working into the offense. Defensive coordinator Ryan Nielsen is taking significant pressure off of him. So, the Falcons are on their way. I like Arthur Smith. I like I like his offensive mind and how he coaches his team. So, the Atlanta Falcons will eventually come around. The Atlanta Falcons will be an exciting team to watch in the near future. The next game, the Bears lost again. The Bears are terrible. The Bears like to run a lot of screen plays. Why? I don't know. So the Bucs took care of business, winning. Baker Mayfield looked like this quarterback who is going through a transformation. He's suddenly starting to be more productive. He's getting the job done. Mayfield kept the Buccaneers. I can't believe I'm saying this, but Mayfield kept the Buccaneers unbeaten, passing for 317 yards and a touchdown. That's unheard of for a guy like Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield usually makes mistakes and usually embarrasses himself. This time, he embarrassed the Bears. The Bears' passing game hasn't improved. Justin Fields is being talked about. Chicago spent the offseason adding guard Nate Davis and tackle Darnell Wright, along with receiver DJ Moore. The result, terrible play, terrible quarterback play, terrible tackling. The offense is out of sync. Justin Fields was sacked 6 times on Sunday, and it could have been more. It could have been a lot worse. Chicago has to find a way to generate offense. They have to find a way to put their quarterback in a situation where he can make easy throws. It's not looking good for the Bears. The Bears are 0-2 to start the season. Bears fans came into the season believing. And with the Buccaneers, who saw this coming? One of the biggest reasons is quarterback Baker Mayfield, who has yet to throw an interception on the season. I can't believe it. If he can continue to play smart football, allowing his defense to play the leading role, take whatever the defense gives him, there's a good season ahead for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in what is a wide open NFC South. It can go either way. And right now, Baker Mayfield looks like the best quarterback in that division. Is it the system? What's working for him? Because so far he has played mistake-free football. It's incredible. The next game was the Colts 31, the Texans 20. The Colts, man. Indianapolis lead the Jaguars, or led the Jaguars in the final quarter of week 1, and then handled the Texans with ease. Rookie quarterback Anthony Richardson, who had 2 rushing touchdowns, needs to be handled with extra care after his concussion. I was worried about that with this guy. This offense is multi-dimensional. Despite limited weapons, they're very good. They like to run. They have a quarterback that can throw. But Anthony Richardson's gonna have to be smarter with the football and do less running, because you don't want him to suffer a severe injury that puts him out. You can't have that. The Texans, man, Houston isn't going to win shootouts, putting the defense in tough spots. They're just not. Under a defensive-minded coach in DeMeco Ryans, the Texans can't allow 90 rushing yards in a half. You can't let a team run all over you like that. You just can't. The path forward for the Texans is playing conservatively and allowing the defense to lead. You have to allow the defense to lead. Last week, you saw some of that despite a lopsided loss. Not the case against the Colts. It was all the Colts in this game. The Colts were simply the better team. They just have the better roster right now. But the Texans do have a great shot in the future with DeMeco Ryans, because I feel like if you give them time, this team can really go some places. The Eagles on Thursday night and the Vikings. The Vikings are a mess right now. The offense has been very one-dimensional to this point. You don't know what you're going to get from Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is a game-managing quarterback to me. Minnesota ran for 28 yards on only 9 attempts. If the Vikings are to get back to playing winning football, it starts with finding balance. I'm not sure they can do that. The defense has gotten a lot better. They have a great defensive coordinator, somebody I believe in, who I think should be a head coach. That's Brian Flores. The Eagles, man, they have played far from perfect the first 2 weeks, but I expect that. You're going to come in with a little rust at times. It's going to be slow sometimes. Jalen Hurts will eventually settle in under new coordinator Brian Johnson. They're still trying to learn their new coordinators. They got a new offensive and defensive coordinator. Both of those guys left for head coaching jobs. You're still trying to get into a rhythm. You're still trying to adjust to their style of coaching. You're still trying to learn the playbook. There's a lot that goes into it. So the Eagles will be fine. They should return to their terrifying selves. I don't see this being a problem much longer. I think the Eagles will really get going and they will take off, and they should win the NFC East in a tight race against the Dallas Cowboys. What a great week around the NFL. I broke down all of the teams. Thanks for watching, everyone. You guys take care. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. We'll talk very soon. I'll be back with more content, most likely tomorrow. I have some short videos for you guys. I'll most likely have a podcast maybe tomorrow. I'll probably do a live reaction during Monday night's game tomorrow. You guys can probably check that out on my page, the Sports Judge page. And you guys can also stream that live from my YouTube channel right here. You guys can get that right here. I got you guys covered. This is some of the best sports content that you will find out there. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll talk next time. Take care of yourselves. Have a good night, everyone.